points of U.S. Americans. It is fielded or consists of a mech platoon with 2 troops of mech, with each one additional dragon team. Here, of course, the unit leader. Then, as a tank platoon, I have here 4 M1s. And as divisional support, I have VATs, of course, Cobras, Copperheads with Fist Observer. So this is 68 points of my US American forces.
So this is 69 points of Soviet forces. I got an additional 4 for my logistics depot being very near the Warsaw Pact border with West Germany. Part of the reasons I'm attacking up north. So it is a T-72 tank battalion. There's the commander. I got a company of 4 and really a platoon of 3. They're supported by a BMP-2 scout platoon. You have the Carnations and Observer in the back with some Gophers. Attached to them for this attack will be a BMP-1 mechanized rifle company. We have the Gremlin missile team along with them. And then over on this side, you have a Hind Assault Landing Company of 4 big bases, 4 small bases, and 4 Hinds. So plenty of aircraft involved in this, plenty anti-aircraft fire. We'll see how that turns out. Next step we're going to do is roll for mission. I am attacking, and we'll set things up and give you a view of the battlefield. Okay, for today's mission, the Soviets won the roll to see who is going to be attacking. So we're attacking up north, which will give us a chance to move our logistics depot down south, closer to the front lines for our eventual attack on Stuttgart. But the Soviets chose a prepared attack. Simon's U.S. forces chose to defend. We rolled a 1. Thus, the mission for today is Bridgehead. So you see the deployment zone for the U.S. forces here, with 2 objectives in the middle. The Soviet ranged in marker is on that objective on the left. Simon has placed his 2 minefields on his left flank, blocking the Soviet advance there. And you can see the Soviet deployment zone is marked by these blue dice and kind of encircles the American forces, which should be a lot of fun. We have, of course, some forest over the board. We have a number of buildings, our normal cornfields, and then a row of trees. Now these hedges right here are tall terrain, and these smaller hedges are short terrain, so we'll play those accordingly. Last thing to mention is Simon's placed his ranged in marker in the middle of those woods back there. So Simon's going to begin by deploying up to 3 of his 6 units on the board. 1 unit can be in ambush. All other units are in the crazy scattered immediate reserve. Deep scattered immediate reserve means you can only place 1 armored unit or 1 helicopter unit, but no more than that. So we'll see what Simon deploys and come back to you after both sides deploy.
What is the location?
So guys, this is my deployment zone. As you can see, here was the bridgehead. Here are the 2 objectives. So mostly I centered everything here. My mech platoons, like almost a straight line. Here behind I have some M113s, and here also some M113s, and my Abrams are in ambush.
The Soviets have counter-deployed. On my right flank I got a T-72 platoon of 4 tanks, and the Carnations, the 2 S1s, are way back here behind the buildings, with the Observer peeking out behind that building. Right now, the Air Assault Company is embarked in the Hinds, which are starting on the middle of the board. Of course, they have unlimited movement. And then on my left flank, I started with my BMP-2 Scout Company to expand my deployment zone. That enabled me to put the 3 tanks way back deep into Simon's lines. The BMP-1 Company with the troops embarked are there as well. And then the tank battalion commander is supporting the main effort. So with that, we are ready to begin. Turn 1. All power to the Soviets. So in Soviet turn 1, we start to push our left flank forward. I gave a follow me order for the BMP-2 scout platoon. One guy still managed to bog down. I used stabilizers to move forward, so they could not shoot because of the order. These T-72s on the left also used their stabilizers. They shot it at a number of targets, but to no effect. Where we did have effect was the BMP-1s, who moved up at regular tactical speed. Managed to get 2 hits. They bailed that rear 113 and destroyed the front one near the building. And then the T-72 battalion commander managed to land a hit and destroy that already bailed 113. The infantry was a little scared because the Carnations did range in on a second attempt, but despite a bunch of rolls, with the template being over 6 infantry, the 2 113s, and the company headquarters, didn't manage to strike any hits. On the right, I missed them in deployment, but I did deploy them later. My anti-aircraft missile systems moved up to the hedgerow, while these T-72s open dashed up the road, so they're 8 inches away from the infantry there. And the helicopters, the Mi-24 Hinds, went to the right flank and landed, preparing to drop off their infantry. So Simon will roll to start his turn to see if there is any reserves coming for him. Of course, no morale checks at this time, so the American lines hold. We'll see if those M1, A1s, I'm sorry, just M1s pop up anywhere. So stay tuned for the U.S. turn 1.
Okay, this is U.S. Forces turn 1. First of all, I revealed my ambush of my M113s over here. And then I just moved up my M113s over there to get a clear line of sight to these guys. Opened here a line of sight also. Just a little bit removed my company commander out of the range and stuff. So this was just the movement. For shooting, the M113s M1s destroyed these 2 tanks over here. The one remaining T-72 scrambled for a remote check. Over here, the Dragon teams destroyed 2 of these M113s, bailed 1. Law team over here destroyed this BMP-2, and 2 shots of these Laws just destroyed over here. The M113s get also some hits over there, but managed to do nothing. Over here, let's turn here. The Dragon teams over here shoot all their stuff here inside, managing to destroy 1 tank and bailing another. This M1 destroyed this helicopter, also destroying 1 regular stand of infantry. And this guy's shooting over there destroyed this helicopter and destroying RPG stand.
Okay, on Soviet turn 2, the T-72s on the road advanced up. They took a couple of shots and hit the infantry in the woods, but failed to... they actually took out 2, I'm sorry. Took 2 when Simon had to re-roll his saves because of the brutal guns in the T-72s. The other T-72 aimed at one of the 113s over there, but missed. I had managed to bail out 2 of them with the RPGs. And then after I moved my helicopters up right in front of them, the other 2 fired anti-aircraft guns at them. Then combined with the M1s took out 1 of the 2 Hinds, with 1 surviving. That Hind shot into the back of a M1, hit, penetrated, failed firepower check, and then failed his morale check at the end of the turn. So my Hinds are gone, adding to the collection that the West Germans have of Hinds as they continue to build their battalion of defecting Soviet pilots. But it did allow me to charge in with that Hind Assault Landing Company. They managed to go ahead and destroy the 113 platoon in close assault. It ended up with 2 destroyed from RPGs and the 2 bailed out, so I automatically destroyed the R2, consolidate 4 inches forward on the road. I had a T-72, managed to make base contact in assault against the American infantry, rolled a 5 and destroyed him. Simon failed his counterattack, and so he has moved back, and the Soviet tanks are at least, for the moment, on top of that objective. Over on the Soviet left flank, these BMP-1s managed to take out 1 113 and bail out the other. my tank attempted to hit but failed, and then he was going to do a shoot and scoot since he hadn't moved but failed his 4+ check on that. And then artillery managed to hit this infantry unit right here. Was the, of all the dice rolls, only one managed to hit. So that unit is pinned. So I charged what's left of my BMP-1 platoon into him. Unfortunately, Simon rolled really well. I got a defector on my side right now. Rolled really well and drove my guys off after he had 5 or 6 hits. I made all my saves, so at least it didn't go all that poorly. But despite being pinned down, he did a number on my Soviets, and they have withdrawn back, so they're at least 2 inches away. With that, we go to the American turn 2. They'll be rolling 2 dice for reserves. It's looking pretty good for Simon right now. Yeah, a lot of my assets have gone, so we'll see.
Okay, this is US turn 2. I managed to remount one of this M1s. Managed also all cross checks going over here. This infantry unit would lost the assault previous round, just shuttled around here to contest the objective. Fortunately, I couldn't unpin them, these guys over here, and I managed to bring my Cobras even with a blitz move inside, so I could use my Tau missiles. So let's start over here. Gremlins shoot, hit one time, didn't manage to get the firepower check. Also over here the guns, I think they also hit it, but
yeah, you made the save on the second
yes,
one.
I made a save on the second one.
Save.
Well, and then what happens, of course, 2 shots from the Tau missiles inside the force commander, destroying him. Over here the infantry, just because unpinned, they're just allowed to shoot their saws, killing I think 4 stands over here. Then, as I mentioned before, these tanks made the cross checks, remount checks, went over here, and 3 tanks just destroyed here. Then shooting at this with the other one, unfortunately no hits. Assaulting with 3 of these guys, destroying 2 more stands. So yes, and actually it's now an American victory because we both agreed that it's almost impossible that Mike can do anything anymore. Tanks annihilated, infantry decimated to some squads here, and here just the BMPs, it won't be enough to contest anything.
Nope. So, American victory on campaign game number 6. Well played, Simon. We'll be back with a wrap-up and talk about how poorly things went for the Soviets and how well they went for the Americans. So, stay tuned. All right, welcome back for the post-game wrap-up. Before we talk about the game, I want to talk a little bit about the campaign and where we're at. So this was campaign round 6. This was the first chance you had to possibly counterattack into the Warsaw Pact lines. We rolled the dice beforehand. The roll was higher than a 2, which meant it was going to be a Soviet attack. I chose to tack up north towards Hamburg. There's a lot of points available on the map up north, and I've kind of been waiting on that. It was also closer to my logistical supply point, so I was able to bring 4 points to bear against the 3 that you got from your logistic supply point. And it also gave me an opportunity to move my supply depot, which is located down south, close to the front line, out of Prague and into Austria. So far, the Soviets have really only taken 2 territories for a total of 1 point. I'm certainly not on a path to win this. This is really just a competition to see how well I can do.
Yes.
And then when we replay the campaign and you're the Warsaw Pact and I'll be the West Germans, we'll be able to see how well you can do versus how well I was able to.
Particularly if I can play the East Germans, I will try to play East Germans, but of course this effort is a little bit bigger because you need a lot more bodies on everything.
You do. You're going to use my Soviet forces that I have available, and if you want to supplement those with some other things, you can. But you're right. But I love my Soviet forces. They let me down sometimes, like they did today. So let's talk about the game.
Yeah, let's first talk about your hides, I would suggest.
Okay, so the Hinds, if you've been watching the previous campaign battle reports, you know from very early on, they tend to run away as soon as they need to make a morale check. And they also tend, more often than not, to hit targets and then fail the 3+ firepower check. And inevitably, it's against the M1s. And again, when you don't kill those M1s, they always come back to bite me.
Of course, they bite you really hard. I mean, particularly first of all, the shots of my M1 on freeze. You missed out of the shots of the M1 on freeze, so you failed one armor save over there. Then the M1s destroyed one helicopter, and then you lost, I think, 2 or 3 stands of infantry also. So it was quite, yeah, it was nasty. Actually, you just lost this game, honestly, just because of failing armor saves and in a quite inflationary way.
Yes, so I lost a ton of stuff on the first turn due to some good rolling on your part and some good tactics on your part, and then some poor armor saves on my part. Really, my right flank with the Assault Landing Company and the 4 T-72s was really only going to be a fixing force to make sure you didn't move all that infantry and the 113s off of your left flank in that objective. They ended up becoming my main assault force after I took such horrendous casualties in turn 1 on my left flank. I thought I would do better with the Hinds, even though we were landing on ground. 50 calibers aren't reliable. I have my 4+, essentially invulnerable save with the aircraft. But between losing one to an M1 and then losing the second one to the 50 cal, really reduced me there. Despite that, once I did get the Assault Landing Company out of the helicopters and unpin the guys who were pinned, they managed to roll through those 113s and start to threaten the objective on your left. So I felt like that played pretty well. Maybe at too high of a cost with the Hinds, but sometimes you have to invest in your fixing force in order to make it work.
Yes, I mean your overall tactic. I mean you played the it's called in German. I don't know how it's in English. It's called schräge Schlachtlinie. Like for example, you put a high force on one flank and the other force is mostly just slightly fixed up to fix up the other one. You made an impression very good way. But and I really like that you use, for example, your recce platoon to enhance your deployment zone, meaning that you encircled me. You really encircled me. So you put early on pressure on me. So I have to make decisions, and that was, in my opinion, very good move. The problem was still that I mean, after I popped out my M1s of ambush, this time I didn't use my copperheads at all. So
smart move.
Yes, because last game I did the other way around and it didn't pay off. So I think even in these missions when you have like to deploy half of your force and you have to defend, I think it's always good that you put your whole infantry in foxholes, that you can contest objectives. Infantry is almost hard to get off foxholes. Okay, I'm playing Americans, but if, for example, imagine I would have British, that would be even harder than getting off this ones. So, but that M1s, I mean, I had 8 shots and I just missed 1 in the first round, and then everything bailing, destroying, and minimum was bailing. So that was a hard punch for your infantry, for your army.
The thing about the M1s is they're so incredibly maneuverable, as we saw in your turn 2. You were able to just bust through the woods, and you used the woods to great effect during turn 1, effectively, shielding them from my other T-72 company that was coming down the road in order to destroy the one that was on your right flank. And of course, I couldn't see them through the woods, and then your guys just barreled through the woods, came out, destroyed my other T-72 company, and then again barreled through the woods in order to assault my infantry and did good damage against them. And of course those infantry don't stand a chance against the M1, so I broke off there. There wasn't much I could do.
Yes, because I mean you lost all your tanks, company commander also was lost, so what did you have? You had some infantry, some BMPs, gophers and artillery, so I think there was almost no way to go further. So anyhow, I mean, I have also to say that I rolled the necessary values at the necessary time. This was very important for me. Not like, I think, 2 battle reports before, where I also won, but it was barely that I won. Because I then failed some morale checks, so reducing my units. So this was also very important that I, at this point, at this most crucial stages, I made my pros.
Absolutely. And, you know, by the end of turn 1, I had lost so much firepower, especially on that left flank. It just halted my attack in its place, and it wasn't going to go anywhere from there. We did try a valiant infantry assault. It was pushed back with your pinned down saws. You just had too many stands in there for me to get through, and my assault task force was too small at that point.
So two things. Also, in the first round, the Dragon teams that they managed to kill one T-72 and bailing another one. This was really lucky. I think that was lucky as hell. And the second thing was when you tried to assault me, and out of 6 shots, I made 5.
I think it was 8 and you made 6.
Yes,
but it was very good.
Yeah, so that you couldn't assault me to get out of me off the foxholes. So yeah, actually my plan was afterwards to get out of the foxholes, shooting all of my saws in his infantry and charging him. But yes.
That would just been shown off at that point to go from the defense to the counterattack.
Yes.
Those foxholes are tough. Last thing I'd like to talk about on the Soviet side is my artillery. Some people might be tracking, I posted on Facebook that I want to invest in some more artillery. I don't know why, because they never do well for me. I think the potential is there, but they didn't kill any stands over the 2 turns, and I think they only hit once out of all those rolls and managed to pin a unit. But I need more from artillery. But you have
to know one thing, that in the first round it was mostly 6s and 7s what you had to hit. So,
sure.
So this was let's say this is a small excuse for this artillery in this turn. And the second turn was 5s. Okay, how many shots do you had?
4s and 5s though, and I had 6 infantry stands under there. Half of them I was hitting on 4s, half of them I was hitting on 5s. The observer was under there too. The thing is, with the size of that artillery template, you can really get a lot of targets under it when they're packed together like you were. I mean, you had a line formation, so I couldn't get a whole bunch.
Yes.
There was no depth to it, but rolling that many dice, I should have done better. And again, as a former field artillery guy,
but
it just
what
breaks my heart.
Yes, but what do you think? I mean, we have this Acacia, this 2S3 and 2S1. So maybe let's put it to the audience what they think about it, and maybe what you say, what your thoughts. Maybe they can advise you.
Good question. My quick thoughts are the 2S1s. Number one, it's a smaller caliber gun. It would be more appropriate in a Team Yankee type battlefield. It'd be closer to the front lines than the 2S3s with the 152s. And the 2S1s are really good at direct fire. I seldomly use them for that, but if you were going to be on the attack, I was going to push my artillery forward as a anti-tank gun team as well as artillery. So I think they're a little bit more versatile there. I got to see what the point costs for the 2S3s are. I'm not a big fan of the Krasnopol guided munitions, but I do like the fact that the firepower is 1 better. I'm just not sure it's going to be worth the point cost. So.
Yeah, this is what we have to check. But I honestly would say, I mean, firepower 1 better. It's better to dig out my infantry.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think I should be able to make more 3+ rolls than I sometimes do.
Yeah.
Would be really interested in your comments though. So I think we'll wrap it up there. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and place a comment below.
Yes. So see you next battle report.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.